There's a device that I've been using called a Whoop.
Hello, and welcome to the International Game of Whoop, Season 4. My name is Dan Sugano, but you probably refer to me as my pilot name, which is FPV Skittles. I am the creator and host of IGOW. So I want to start this season off by thanking everyone watching right now. All of you that have watched and participated over the last 3 seasons have transformed IGOW from an insignificant little game on Facebook into a legitimate international competition renowned for producing the most skilled freestyle FPV Whoop pilots in the world. Season 1 of IGOW had 116 total participants, and we already have over 1,300 registrations for IGOW4. Well over 1,000 of this season's players have never participated in any of the previous IGOW seasons or other related games. New players, please be sure to regularly check the website www.internationalgameofwhoop.com. The website homepage should have all of the most recent and relevant information about the game, and you can find just about everything you could possibly want to know about IGOW4 somewhere on the website. Remember, this season features many changes from the last 3 seasons, so if you are at all unclear about any aspect of the game, it is best to directly ask the community on Discord or Facebook. Alright IGOWers, now I'm going to pass you over to IGOW Studios, Dan, so he can explain the requirements for IGOW4 Weekly Challenge Number 1, the We Bleed Orbital Introductions. Thanks, Skittles! Hello IGOWers, and welcome to the first official regular season challenge of IGOW4. Like the Orbital Introductions title implies, there are 2 main challenge objectives this week. The first is to introduce yourself as a pilot, and the second is to find an interesting or unique point of interest in your local area and orbit it. Okay, so now let's get into the specific requirements for whoa! Ooh. Sorry to drop in on you like that, Dan, but I need a minute to speak to these fine pilots out there about our title sponsor of this first weekly challenge, WeBLEEDfpv. WeBLEEDfpv is probably best known for their top-of-the-line LED whoop gates and their 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries. WeBLEEDfpv is run by Jeff Grabowski, aka Zotek, who is one of the biggest supporters of IGOW and the whoop community in general. Zotek is always looking to bring great new products to his customers, like the V2702 brushless motors that are now available on the website www.WeBLEEDfpv.com. Oh, and grab yourself a bottle of their sweet hot sauce while you're there. It's delicious.
Hey, are you okay? Sponsor Dan is the worst, always jumping in on people like that.
Right.
Anyway, where were we?
We were talking about the submission rules and the challenge requirements.
Yes. We have reached the weekly challenge number 1 of IGOW4 regular season. Remember, that means there are no more freebies now that the preseason is over. If you fail or miss a weekly challenge from here on out, you will receive a letter. And once you receive 4 letters, IGOW, you will be eliminated from the game, which is commonly referred to as whooping out. We cannot explain every single game rule every week, so make sure, especially if you are a new player to IGOW who did not decide to participate in the preseason, that you are absolutely sure that you understand every single rule. For example, maximum video submission length is 60 seconds for all challenges. This is a hard limit and includes any intros and outros, end screens, or anything that you are officially submitting to the weekly Google form. This is absolutely a hard limit. Your video will be considered a fail if you submit a video more than 60 seconds.
Another rule that will be required for all challenges, but not specifically explained every time, is that you must show all of the required tricks in real time, meaning regular speed, at least once in your video. That means you are not allowed to speed up or slow down your required tricks to fit them in the time limit. That said, if you've already shown the minimum required 4 orbits for this week's challenge at the regular speed, then you're welcome to show any additional orbits or clips at any speed you like. Please do not make us enforce any of these basic rules on you. None of us will be happy about it.
Okay, now let's get into the specific requirements for IGOW4 Weekly Challenge number 1, the WeBLEEDfpv Orbital Introductions. Requirement number 1, the introduction. You must clearly show the following 4 pieces of information on screen at some point during your video submission. A is your pilot name. B is your common name. C is your location, either where you live or the location that you said that you were representing when you registered. So like Washington, Seattle, United States. Right? D is a fun or interesting fact about yourself. This can be anything that you like. This info can be all together at the beginning or at the end, or it can be shown throughout the video, as long as all 4 pieces of information are on the screen at one point during the video. If you speak this information aloud during your submission, you also still must include it in text on screen at some point.
All right, so requirement number 2 is the clockwise orbits part of the challenge. You must complete at least 2 clockwise orbits in a row. You must keep at least part of the point of interest in your FPV view for the entire 2 orbits. These 2 orbits must be back to back in the same clip with no bumps or ground taps.
Requirement number 3 are the counterclockwise orbits. You must complete at least 2 anti-clockwise orbits in a row. You must keep at least part of your point of interest in FPV view for the entire 2 orbits. These 2 orbits must be back to back in the same clip with no bumps or ground taps. Okay, now let's go out to field reporter Dan, who was sent out to find a point of interest in our local area.
Hello, field reporter Dan here, and as you can see, I've taken a lot of time to search my entire area and community to find a very interesting and unique point of interest to orbit, and that is this tree here. So I'm going to go over how to do a basic orbit in both directions, clockwise and anti-clockwise. Alright, so here's my point of interest, this tree right here, and I'm just going to orbit around the base here. So first of all, what is not an orbit is if you just fly around the tree, flying forward in circles like this. So even though I am kind of keeping the tree in view just because the view is so wide, just flying around the tree in a circle is not an orbit. So like that for clockwise, or this for counterclockwise, this does not count as an orbit. We are just flying forward in circles. That's not an orbit. An orbit is when you face your nose in and then you spin around the tree, keeping your nose facing in towards the center. So here we're doing the counterclockwise orbit. You can kind of see where my sticks are. You kind of got to find this position for your whoop, and then try to lock in a consistent and smooth circle. You don't want to do big ovally ones like this where you come off one side. Try to get it a consistent and smooth circle, and then once you get that, go the other direction. And if it's windy out, it's going to be hard to keep consistent. You're going to have to fight one direction and then just go with the wind the other direction. But that is a basic orbit. All right, all I got to do is turn that into a passing submission, and I'll be done with weekly challenge number 1, the WeBLEED Orbital Introductions. Boom, nailed it. I killed the orbits on this tree. Did you see that? Seriously, field reporter Dan? The tree in the front yard? That's the point of interest you found to orbit? What do you mean? That was absolutely a passing submission. Yes, I guess technically it is a passing submission. But let's go to Tchotchke's manager Stan to see how he feels about doing the bare minimum.
We need to talk about your Flair.
Really? I have 15 pieces on.
Well, okay, 15 is the minimum. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you know, it's up to you whether or not you want to just do the bare minimum or, well, like Brian, for example, has 37 pieces of Flair on today, okay? A terrific smile.
Okay, so you want me to wear more?
Look, we want you to express yourself, okay? Now, if you feel that the bare minimum is enough, then okay. But some people choose to wear more, and we encourage that, okay? You do want to express yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. That's all I ask.
Thanks, WeBleed Team Pilot Dan. That example submission would certainly have a much better chance of being selected as a top video for the week. Often adding little things to your edit, like little minor details, may not seem like a big deal, but will certainly make your video stand out among the hundreds of other videos that will have the same basic elements. Remember, each challenge is ultimately only a pass-fail grade, so while doing any of this extra flair for your submissions is certainly going to help you stand out and get recognized, and maybe even win some prizes.
That's what the Flair's about. It's about fun.
It will not particularly impact your likelihood of actually making the playoffs or winning the whole competition. So, it is not at all required. Alright, IGOWers, remember, the focus of this challenge is to find something interesting and unique to Orbit while introducing yourself and your local area. So try to have fun with that in mind. Good luck and happy whooping! 37 pieces of Flair.